What's good? What's good?
What's good, Cam?
man?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay,
I can hear
right
you.
on.
Are you
Right
live?
on, boy.
Are
right
you
on.
live? Let's
Right
give Cleveland a round of applause for getting his technology straight today. Last
You
week,
couldn't hear me last time.
He wasn't able to get it right on Sunday for our Sunday.
Okay. I'm just glad you can hear me, Cameron. We're on the same page. Cool.
All right, now, so thank you guys for joining the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is your boy Cam. Got my man Cleveland in the Northwest.
Cleveland is here.
Can you hear this?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, so we're going to get the show started just like this.
Hey, Marcel Smiley right here. Thank you for making.
Who am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
My name
Cameron.
is
Cam Buford.
I'm a Dolphin fan.
There's always room for improvement.
This is a big year for Tua to prove that he's a franchise quarterback.
I'm more a fan of boxing. Boxing is my main sport.
I'm not worried about him right now. I'm worried about Crawford. I'm trying to get that fight made.
As a competitor, how much does that competitive spirit get in there and say, I want to fight this guy. I want to get some of this guy.
Of course I want to fight all the guys. Of course that. But at the same time, like I keep telling you, it's a business.
Once you finish him off, do you feel you get the credit and the respect you deserve there?
It really don't matter. I'm just on a mission to become the best, welterweight in the division. After I get him, I want to fight the next best guy, the next best guy, the next best guy. Then once I clear the division, I'm going to move up.
Think about it like this. The promoter pays the fighter. The fighter pays the manager.
Okay.
So the manager works for the fighter, and the fighter works
for the promoter. Okay.
If you can see, you can believe.
So you are lifting weights currently?
No. When he said it's easier to score in the NBA versus Europe, did you agree with them?
To me, it's easy to score all over the world.
Aaron, what has the game of baseball taught you?
One of the biggest things is being humble.
Can you give a message to the kids to kind of persevere through the false teachings they may be giving?
Patience.
Okay.
Patience.
As the show Voice of the Fan
Oh my goodness
continues to
I'm in
evolve,
tears.
You were adding some spice to it.
it is strictly banter back and forth between myself and Cameron Buford.
I enjoy all of it.
The real ones know what's going on, right? Like you said, it's a different voice. So I think it's a big part of my game. And every time I step on the floor, I just want to represent myself.
You play this game and you don't not trying to win a championship, then why are you playing for?
I'm happy for the Mariners. I'm happy for all
Ken, nobody.
Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape, and then you tell me if it was all about just a system.
You look like a buffoon.
Go do your research. Go do your study.
Oh, this guy.
That's what's good in sports, man. It's Big Snoop Dogg, man.
That's what's good in sports. Hey, man, thanks for making our voice your choice. You know how we do. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for tuning in once again to the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is your man. Give yourself a round of applause for tuning in to this week. Thank you guys. Cleveland, what's going on?
Oh man, it's just sweltering hot up here in the 206 right now. Just trying to stay
hot.
cool.
What is it? 85 degrees, man.
It is exactly 88 degrees. Yeah.
Come on, sweltering, bro. You don't got no humidity up there. You don't got no humidity. You got a cool breeze coming off the mountains and the shores and the water. Man, cut it out, man. Enjoy it. It's better than the 48 degrees it's been most of the year, isn't it?
Okay, well, you're trying to, stick jabs. That's fine, but it's hot right now. I'm on the third floor. It's hot. Fans, excuse me if occasionally I have to take my hat off and wipe my brow. It's just hot.
Well, fans, thank you guys for tuning in once again to the Voice of the Fans podcast. It's July 19th, 2023. This is week 250 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. I can hear myself twice. This is crazy. I hear myself speaking twice. I hear everything. Can you hear me still okay? You got me, Cleveland? Yeah, I don't know why. Turn it
better, much better right there. Boom.
Yeah, but I can hear myself speaking twice, so it's like it's being recorded. I'm hearing a recording. I don't know what the heck is going on. Boy, I don't know. I'm having all kind of technical difficulties over here. Fans will again want to thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully, you guys are getting a clear show. This is just something I deal with today. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate your patronage. Again, July 19th, 2023, week 250 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. For those who tuned in to the Sunday special, Cleavon had some technical difficulties, but he hung in there. He was chiming into the text, so we're gonna give him a chance to get some stuff off his chest because he didn't like how I was conveying his messages throughout the show. So I got some of those topics lined up that we're gonna be able to touch on, and we can get to those, and hopefully he has his notes written down. But each and every week, fans, we talk about certain shows, certain things, and I'm gonna give you a rundown of what we're talking about this week is NFL offseason. We got a lot to talk about. The NFL never sleeps. It always gives us something to chat about. We got some NBA still their offseason. The NBA Hot Stove League is still running around. We got to talk about some Major League Baseball. We got some boxing topics that we're going to get into. Also, and we're going to talk about Shohei Ohtani. We're going to get Cleveland to talk about Shohei Ohtani this week. But before we get to all that, we play our numbers game, Cleveland. When you think of the number 19, Cleveland, who wore that number best? And who comes your mind first?
You know, Cam, just the way that you had been talking about the 206 previously on the last show, it would be Lenny Wilkens and Lenny Wilkens, the only, one of the few players to be in the Hall of Fame as a player and a coach.
Lenny Wilkens, that's a good call. He's on my list. I thought you might have came with Scott Mitchell. The guy who got a then outrageous contract, $6 million per year for one game when he came in and subbed in for Dan Marino. Or I expected you to mention Tony Gwynn. I mean, I know you're a lover of Tony Gwynn and what he's able to do. Life went a little short, but I expect you to mention Tony Gwynn. When you think of the number 50, Cleveland, who wore that number the best, or who come to your mind first?
Cam, who comes to mind first is Emeka Okafor because he won me so much money, and then he wore it the best, Michael Singletary.
Who? How did Emeka Okafor win you some money? Who was you betting on? The losers? You was taking the losers?
I had Duke plus 2.5
in the championship game.
Yeah.
All right, fans. So we had a Sunday, part of our Sunday special. We had a breaking news hit upon us as Cleveland was having his technical difficulties. Was DeAndre Hopkins signing with the Titans? And I explained my theory after the shock and awe of him signing with the Titans over the Chiefs, over the Patriots. We decided Cleveland's favorite phrase he'd like to say about NFL players is that they age in dog years. That's Cleveland. Am I right? Do I have that right?
That's 100% true. True fact.
So just last week, we ran down our top 5 running backs in fantasy football, correct?
We did. I'm not quite sure what that has to do with the receiver DeAndre Hopkins, but yeah, we did do that.
Well, I left DeAndre Hopkins' new teammate, Derrick Henry, off of my top 5 running back list because I think that the thread on the tires is kind of thin. And you want to argue that point, but you have to agree with me, and clearly DeAndre Hopkins agrees with me because now he's going to be the big target in Tennessee versus DeAndre Hopkins being the major target because I would suspect the only reason he signed with Tennessee is that he's expecting regression from DeAndre, or he's expecting regression from Derrick Henry, as he knows what you know. These running backs age, NFL players, especially running back, age in dog years. So we've been seeing consistent output from Derrick Henry for the last 5 years, and he's expecting that to regress. What say you, Cleveland?
I say that that is a philosophy that I abide by. Football players age in dog years, so it wouldn't surprise me if the fall off this season on Derrick Henry was egregious. However, I think that he's a little bit above that, and he's got at least 2 more 1,300-yard seasons ahead of him.
You think he has 2 1,300 yards? So again, we did the math, and that puts him at Hall of Fame level.
Close.
I think that puts him close to just under 11,000 yards.
Sure.
So you're saying Derrick Henry is a Hall of Famer?
Close.
He's close to a Hall of Famer. So what was it? Was there an argument or dispute with what the point I was making?
There was no. I mean, ordinarily, you would be right. I just think this is a specific example of someone that's going to, supersede that rule.
I don't think we have 2 more years. I'd argue we don't have 2 more years of Derrick Henry at 1,300 yards. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he gets 1,300 yards this season. He's gonna be the focus of their team. They're playing with a rookie quarterback. They're playing with Ryan Tannehill for the first 6 weeks until the rookie quarterback takes over. I mean, we don't. You nor I nor
you don't know what's going to happen with Ryan
you
Tannehill.
nor
I understand your disdain
you
for
nor
Ryan
I
Tannehill.
expect Ryan Tannehill to finish the
No,
season.
I completely 100% understand your disdain for Ryan Tannehill over the years. I mean, he's burned you with AFC championship after AFC championship. Given the fact that he left the Miami Dolphins, kind of in a huff, it wasn't smooth. So I understand where you're coming from with that, but at the same time, that has nothing to do with Derrick Henry.
What do you mean it has nothing to do with Derrick Henry? There's no threat. There's no threat from the quarterback position, meaning they can stack up on the run. What do you mean there's no?
There's still a threat from the quarterback position, being Ryan Tannehill. He's already proven, like 2 years ago, he took his team to the AFC Championship. Am I incorrect with that?
In the playoff, the guy threw for 113 yards one game, while Derrick Henry ran for 182 yards.
Was that in the AFC Championship?
What are you talking about? No, it wasn't in the AFC Championship. It was in fact in the playoff.
Did they win that game?
They won the game because they had Derrick Henry running for nearly 200 yards. Man, see, yeah, exactly. He got him sweating already, fans.
So they won the game.
Got him sweating already.
They did win the game. The game that you were talking about, they won that game.
He threw for 113 yards. Yes, they won the game because they ran Derrick Henry.
Well, rinse and repeat.
Man, come on. Again. Well, they're going to be playing with Ryan Tannehill and or a rookie quarterback. So the target's still going to be on Derrick Henry's back. Is he going to get 13 yards? I'm not expecting that. I'm not expecting that this season. So we're going to keep on. We're going to pin fans, and we'll come back to that one.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later, homie.
Yeah. We'll pin that. We'll come back to that one.
Yeah.
The Jets signed Quentin Williams, 4 years, $96 million. 4 years, $96 million. You got Rodgers showing up in camp this year. Are you and Paula? How you guys feeling? How you guys feeling? Are you expecting big things from the Jets? Do you think?
I'm not a part of that association, Cam. I know that you always try and make me a part of that organization, but yeah, we're not affiliated like that, man. Good for them. We'll see what they can do.
Now you're trying to distance yourself from the Jets. Now that they show up in training camp, now you're trying to distance yourself from the Jets. That's interesting because for the last season and a half, you've been talking about this culture that Saul has been building. You've been talking about the now all they needed was a quarterback, and now they got your guy Rodgers. Now, why are you trying to distance yourself from? Why are you trying to distance yourself from the guy?
Because I'm just looking for a far, Cam. It's not like that's my squad. Like I'm pulling or rooting for them. That's what I see what's going on over there. And I like it. As far as the coach is concerned, I like the way that he coaches.
Interesting. Well, we'll see. Do you expect in Aaron Rodgers' first year there, do you expect Aaron Rodgers to throw for 4,000 yards for the Jets?
Yes.
In doing so, he'll be the first quarterback to do so in 56 years for that franchise. You expect him to throw for 4,000 yards this year?
Yes.
You know he hasn't done that in 2 years with Green Bay, right?
I understand. Yeah, I expect him to throw for 4,000 yards.
Why would you expect that?
Because he's got a wide open offense. He'll have a lead quite a bit of the time, and he's just going to be efficient and buckle down. And he understands it's like he's only got 2 seasons left to get another ring, and kind of step up from just that one time. So
even though no quarterback has done that in 56 years, that's your anticipation. Okay. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, Cleavon, which is Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Pollard decides to sign. Pollard decides to sign his what is it, franchise deal with the Cowboys
tag.
Yeah, but Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs haven't signed theirs. Do you expect either of these guys to sit out at 24 and 25 or 25 or 26 years old? Do you expect either of these guys to sit out a season to prove their point?
I expect both of them to sit out to prove their point.
Sit out the season?
If necessary.
I don't expect them to sit out the season, man.
They will sit out the minimum of 10 games, 10, 11 games. That if you're not a participant for like the last 6 or 7 games and you don't get tenure, they'll sit out at least
that minimum amount of games to get tenure.
Yeah.
And neither team, so you don't have the Giants or the Raiders trying to give them a bigger deal to get in camp before that.
They should, but so far they haven't. So apparently they both feel like they have adequate replacements for those 2 players, Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs. So haven't seen those players on the roster, but apparently they think so.
So we talked about this a couple weeks ago when we had Tyler Dragon on the show about the running back disparity or the running back devaluation of the running backs. And let's replay this for the fans who didn't see it then. But I want to replay this conversation that I had with Terrell Davis a few seasons ago.
And that's why
you wouldn't get a good bite of that apple.
Well, that's why I'm speaking on it, because thank God for me, I was allowed to redo my deal after year 1.
Oh, wow.
And the players can't redo their deals now. So they need to just go back to the old thing and let players redo their deals. But it's more than that. I mean, there's things tied into it with the CBA. But I think there needs to be an exemption for running backs. Where it's like, listen, man, if your team is willing to negotiate your deal, then they should be able to do it for a running back position, because we don't have that long life expectancy.
But that is true. That exemption would be kind of tricky. That's true because
why would it be tricky?
Who knows? Because not everybody's like you, or not everybody's like Zeke. Not everybody can carry that for 3 or 4 years.
Right. So what I'm saying is, a team don't have to do it.
Yeah.
They don't have to redo your deal. But if you
just severely outperform it.
You tell me the last 3 years, Zeke has been paid peanuts.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? He should have been paid.
I got you.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
So now he's got 3 years. He put on his work, and now he's got 2 more years that he may still not be paid.
So a couple of things about that interview. We were talking about Zeke especially, but I thought the reason I said it would is I thought the reason that would be tricky, because you remember the quarterbacks talking about having their own little contracts and governing body. If you remember that, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, the quarterbacks talking about they need negotiate their own deal outside of the collective bargaining agreement. And if that didn't happen with Brady and Manning leading that charge there, I think Drew Brees was in that I think Brady was or Drew Brees was in that group as well. If that didn't happen for them, I thought it would be really tricky for the NFL running back to happen. That's actually what I was thinking when I brought up that is going to be tricky portion of the discussion with Terrell Davis. But as he stated, he was allowed to redo his contract. He was allowed to redo his contract, but the collective bargaining agreement at the time allowed that. The NFLPA is so terrible that I doubt that they're going to accept or listen to running backs, especially young players who don't have tenure, who don't have the historical leverage of the game. Listen to those guys as they try to make a claim for having the reason to have renegotiate their contract. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a slippery slope, right? I mean, there aren't a lot of Eric Dickersons and Adrian Petersons that kind of come through the NFL, wherein you kind of have a really good idea of what you're going to get and for how long. It has gotten to the point where NFL franchises feel like running backs are disposable. And that's unfortunate because they don't really take into consideration the value that incredible running backs bring to your team, and that they think that you may have productivity for 2 or 3 years, but if, after 2 or 3 years you're going to fall off, and we got to do this all over again. They just don't feel that they're durable enough to warrant the larger contracts.
Man, this is an ugly situation. I mean, we kind of it's a sad situation. They don't. We talked about this in the past. The Todd Gurley contract, that most running backs, because that contract went completely south. There's not many running backs who've gotten a good, solid second contract, other than a couple players. Your guy, the special teams player who's now in San Francisco, Christian McCaffrey, he did get a second contract. Uh, Chubbs in Cleveland, he got a second contract. Cleveland for a minute there, they throwing around money just to have people on their team. But a lot of teams have gone by way of running back by committee, trying to get more out of the stable than just the one player. And I think that has less to do with the one player able to have a bell cow back, because how many bell cow backs do we have in the league? And I think that's less of a reason, because a lot of players have been doing the running back by committee, which is another sad number. There's a meme going around where,
but Cam, why do they do the running back by committee?
to keep the running backs fresh. To keep their running back fresh is one thing.
Is that why?
And they don't have that bell cow back.
Eric Dickerson needed somebody else behind him taking some of his carries. You think Adrian Peterson needed someone else behind him taking some of his carries? I mean, you think Alvin Kamara doing his thing needs some other people? You think Priest Holmes, when he scored 29 touchdowns,
we saw the best. You mentioned
Alexander.
Alvin Kamara. Yes, I was going to mention him. If Sean Alexander had somebody, I don't remember who was on the team. Well, they had Fred Jones. I think he came there maybe a year later on this team. If Sean Alexander had somebody to spell him, would his career have last longer? Probably so.
No, Sean Alexander was very self-aware. He would just fall down if it wasn't there, man. Like, man, it's not here. I don't fault him for that. A lot of 206 cats fault him for that. Like, oh wow, that play did not work.
Yeah.
So he was always very self-aware of his body.
His career still. Your Alabama running back, by the way. His career still what 7 or 8 years. And I think once they traded the guy, his tackle or guard to Minnesota, that really
Steve
severely
Hutchinson
impacted.
went to Minnesota, yes.
That really impacted his production. But
sure.
Did Eric Dickerson need a bell cow back? I mean, did he need somebody to spell him? No.
No.
Would it have been nice if he had somebody to spell him? I mean, Eric Dickerson, anomaly. He's a Hall of Fame running back. He's a Hall of Fame running back. The player they've been running back by committee. If you can get your fire and ice, if you can get your bruiser, your pounder. You mentioned Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara, I think he was best. He was best when they had Mark Ingram running the ball up the middle, and then they can run the ball with Kamara.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah,
that's
that was ideal. That was ideal to wait.
If you're that dude, you're that dude. Give the ball to him every single time.
Cleveland. We've seen what happened in you're not paying attention to what's going on in the NFL. Ezekiel Elliott came in on fire, right? As a rookie. His first 2 years was absolutely on fire.
Right.
As his game regressed, he needed Tony Pollard to come in and spell him to give him a burst. That's exactly what Tony Pollard did last season. Melvin Gordon for the Chargers. He was a big bruising back, but when Austin Eckler stepped in there, that gave him a different dimension. That gave them a different that allowed them to attack the defense in a different way.
You hear what you're saying? It's like Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler had to combine to be LaDainian Tomlinson. You know what I'm saying? It's like if LaDainian's back there, look, you just keep giving the ball to LaDainian Tomlinson. You doesn't need that break.
Again, you're missing the whole point. Yeah, sure, if you have that guy, but they're not investing in that guy anymore. They haven't.
But I'm not missing your point. If you don't have that guy, then yeah, do all that.
Cleveland.
Whatever, 3-year thing. But once you get that guy, run the guy.
What do you do? New York's not paying that guy. New York has that guy, they're not paying him. The Raiders have that guy, they're not paying him. What are you talking about? You're missing what's going on.
They're both.
So it's not just about that guy.
They're both afraid of injury and the amount of carries those two running backs have.
Yeah, but if they're that guy, what you're saying, if you're that guy, pay your guy. They've proven they're that guy. So what's the problem? And listening to your theory.
The problem is that they're listening to the statistics and saying, "Oh, well, if he's been that guy for that long, it's only like 2 more years that he can still be that guy.
So
I can't give him 6 years of a contract."
Why is Tennessee not buying into that theory? I don't think you're really paying attention to the situation because Tennessee's not. They're totally ignoring that situation. New York has had that guy. Is proven that he can be that guy. The Raiders have that guy. He's proven that he can be that guy. Actually led the league in rushing last year, but they still don't want to pay him. If they have, according to you have that guy, you pay that guy. So they have that guy. Why aren't they paying him?
Because they are following the statistics, which say that a running back, after all of that wear and tear, will eventually fall off, and they're also hearkening back to my philosophy, which is that football players age in dog years. So
we're talking about
not 100% sure what they're going to get.
We're talking about guys of 25 and 26. You're talking about these guys aging in dog years?
Yeah.
So they're 21 already in the NFL in NFL life.
From what the owners are pontificating, yeah. Like I'll get the 5 and we'll be done here.
So I'm gonna tell you why you are wrong. And I'm gonna tell you why the owners.
I'm wrong for what the owners are saying, or I'm wrong for thinking that football players age in dog years. Where am I wrong at?
Well, yeah, for agreeing with the owners in this concept. That's what you're doing here. It sounds like to me that you're agreeing with the owners.
No, not really. I'm saying if they're special, just identify them as special. If they're not special, then just keep churning them out. But if they're special,
I just pointed out, Cleveland. I just pointed out to you the Raiders have a special guy.
who's proven he's special.
The
25 years
Raiders
old.
have
The
someone
Giants
that
have a
you
special
have
guy.
that you have identified as a special guy. Is Josh
What do you mean
Jacobs
that
special?
I have a? What do you mean that I have? He
Led
showed
the
it.
league in rushing last year. Is he special?
You have to be special to lead the league in rushing. Who was your quarterback last
There's
year?
been a lot of people lead the league in rushing that aren't special.
If you lead the NFL in rushing, you're not special now? That's what you're saying? Is that what you want to say now?
Not necessarily.
Tell me one guy who led the NFL in rushing that wasn't a special back. Give me one.
Means. Is he special?
What did they get to the Super Bowl that year with him leading the league in rushing?
Nope.
What do you mean? When Natron Means was balling, that team got to the NFL. What are you talking? I mean, they got to the Super Bowl that year. The 1 year the Chargers got to the Super Bowl. What are you talking about?
Timmy Smith was he special?
I don't know that he ever led the league in rushing. Timmy Smith. I don't know.
Well,
he got a Super Bowl record.
Cam, put up the list of running backs that have led the league in rushing for the last 25 years.
No, you just told me. Cleveland, you told me. This is your argument. This is your argument.
I'm tired of hearing all this. I'll put a list up.
Put a list up right now. Timmy Smith did not lead the league in rushing. I don't even have to go to the list for that. But since you want to put it, why you put that list up? Josh Jacobs had 1,653 yards rushing in his fourth year in the NFL. Josh Jacobs, three of his four years, he's rushed for over 1,000 yards. How is that not special? He led the league in rushing in his fourth year. How is that not special? Played every game. How is that not special? I'm confused. I'm confused how that is not special. I'm confused. For a career, he averaged 4.4 yards a carry. Last season, he averaged 4.9 yards a carry. How is that not special? I mean, how is that not special? You're telling me Josh Jacobs ain't special? What the heck are you talking about? You're losing credibility with the fans when you say.
No, I'm not losing credibility. How am I losing credibility?
When you say Josh Jacobs is not special, that's how you lose credibility.
It's not special.
What are you talking about? Not special. 3 to 4 years.
He led the league in rushing that one time. Kareem Hunt led the league in rushing one time. He's special.
Is Kareem Hunt not? Oh my goodness gracious!
Kareem Hunt special?
You have to be special to lead the league in rushing.
No, you don't necessarily have to be special to do that.
Again, let me tell me somebody else who's you have to be
Marco
special.
Murray special?
Who?
Marco Murray, was he special?
In that season, yes, he was. He 1,600 yards? 1,600 yards rushing that season?
Shady McCoy special?
What did you got to give me more than just what he did?
Matt Forte special?
Matt Forte was very special.
Ray Rice special?
Give me what they did that season.
Drew special?
Give me what they did that season. Give me what they did that season. When to lead the league in rushing, you have to be special. Number one.
Oh, so you only have to be special for that individual season that you did that thing. I don't have an argument for that, Cam. Yeah. I really
you
don't.
Say
that one time you just ran like a gazelle and led the league and you were special that time.
Matt Forte was a fan. Come on, you shouldn't be aware of Matt Forte was a fantasy freak. For at least 3
special?
Years. Catching out the
or did that 1 year. I didn't go to what they did the next year. I just went with that one season.
Because that was a pinnacle.
And sometimes it went from first to like 27th. So sometimes that happens.
You would have more. You would have a better argument.
The football players.
You would have a better argument.
Or sometimes they go from like 1 to like 13.
You would have a better argument if you came at me with this guy had one high mark and then what is it called? Reduced to the mean. Came back down to the mean. That would be a better argument.
That's fine, but no.
You would have that would be a better argument for a guy like Matt Forte. That would be a better argument for Maurice Jones-Drew. But they had a consistent 3 or 4 year span where yes, they were special, and the pinnacle was leading the league in rushing. All those guys you mentioned, yeah.
Okay, but
their
contracts don't dictate that they can be paid like special players for 3 or 4 years.
Well, Cleveland, to you and the owner's point, the contract ain't dictating that they should be paid at all. So now Cleveland is joining the owner's argument, guys. Now,
I'm not joining the owner's argument. I'm just contradicting your argument that these players are special. Sometimes they just have a really great rushing year. Well, go get Dalvin Cook then. Okay, go get Dalvin Cook then.
I don't know that you understand
305
what it takes to be special. I don't know that you understand what it takes to be
is
a running back.
Dalvin Cook special?
When you're
Is
talking
Dalvin
like
Cook
this,
special?
when you're talking like this,
question outside the box.
When you're talking like this, I don't know that you understand what it takes to be special in the NFL.
Is Dalvin Cook special?
I mean, they can run without Dalvin Cook. They got enough guys that can be run without Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook would be one of the better guys in the backfield.
Wow, Cassius, stop ducking and dodging, man. Is Dalvin Cook a special running back?
Dalvin Cook is. If I was Minnesota, I wouldn't let Dalvin Cook go. I'll put it like that. If I was Minnesota, I would have not let Dalvin Cook go.
Cam, let me rephrase the question. It's a yes or no question. Is Dalvin Cook special?
Sure, Dalvin Cook is
so
a special
yes,
back. Yes.
Dalvin Cook is special. So by your criteria of special, he should be paid at least $13 million.
If I was Minnesota, I wouldn't let Dalvin Cook go. But I'm not giving
that.
I'm not
that. So wow.
I'm not paying him $13 million to join the Dolphins.
You already said he's a special running back.
Yeah.
So how come no one else has signed him?
That's I don't know. I can't understand it. I can't explain that. I can't explain why the owners won't have.
Talking about Saquon and Josh, they haven't signed them either.
Yeah, and Saquon and Josh are more special than Dalvin Cook.
I think Saquon's more special. I don't think Josh is more special. Mr. Dalvin is kind of talented, man. So,
again,
weird.
I'm not sure that you really understand what it takes to be an NFL running back. I'm not with you're explaining to the fans why your knowledge of NFL running backs is limited.
Okay. So is what's that dude over there at Pittsburgh that you love so much? The running back.
Najee Harris?
Is he special?
I mean, on what comparison? He hasn't proved he's special in the NFL.
So he's not special. Okay.
He hasn't proved that. He hasn't proved that at this point.
Okay.
He hasn't proved it at this point.
Is Kenneth Walker III special?
When you say, I mean, okay,
what is the criteria for a special running back? I don't really quite fully understand.
I don't understand why you're going down this list of guys either. I don't know. Understand?
Because I'm naming some really top-notch marquee players that you don't really want to say they're special.
Yeah, but I don't. What do you mean? I mean, what are we talking about here? Are they good players? Sure, I'd love to have them all on my team.
No, we're not.
Am I paying them
players because they already know they're good players? You've already seen their productivity last season. The question is, are they special?
When you say
that's what the NFL has determined, that it's hard to determine if you're special at that position.
No,
and you can't even say it with a straight face.
It's not. It's not hard to determine it. It's not hard to determine that. I don't know what you're looking for.
So is Josh Jacobs special?
Josh Jacobs is special. Would I pay him?
Austin Eckler special?
Again, they're different running backs, Cleveland. I don't understand the point that you're trying to make. You're asking, are they special? Are they special?
My point is, would you invest in him for 5 more years?
Would I expect special. Would I expect invest in Austin Eckler? Would I expect invest in Josh
5 more
Jacobs?
years?
Absolutely.
You do that?
Absolutely.
No,
the kid is 25 years old.
You would not. You absolutely would not. You've already seen it.
Again, you're showing your ignorance. The kid is 25 years old. He just led their league in rushing with 1,600 yards on a team that have a receiver and questionable quarterback play. Everybody would rate David Carr. Everybody would rate anybody with sense would rate David Carr average quarterback. Every quarterback, anybody would rate Derek Carr as an average quarterback. Josh
Okay,
Jacobs ran for 1,600 yards.
So we're talking about Josh Jacobs. He's special.
I don't know what the argument is, Cleveland. He ran for 1,000 yards three of his first 4 years in the league.
Special.
I don't know how there's an argument there. I don't know
because he's not special.
How are you? What's your criteria for special? The kid led the league in rushing,
really
1,700 yards.
Like that.
What is your criteria? What is your criteria?
Projected for more than 3 years. I don't think that Josh Jacobs is special like that.
What's your criteria?
That level of success can be projected for more than 3 years. You're special,
and you're ridiculous, and you have lost your.
That's not really. Is that an unrealistic expectation?
Let the people know where they can find you, so they can hit you up.
Yeah, at Clevie Wonder on Twitter and Cleavon Steele on Instagram. What is your criteria of a special running back?
No, don't change it. Don't change the criteria. Would you invest in Josh Jacobs? Is the question, and you're saying
my answer is no,
because you don't think he can keep up the level of production.
I don't think he's special.
And you're ridiculous. So I'm gonna move on from this argument. I think the owners are absolutely ridiculous in taking this stance against devaluing the running backs. The running game is essential, Cleveland, and I'll just turn to you and let it explain to the fans what is the best friend of quarterback.
A strong running game.
With that being said, fans, 60%. Looking at the last 20 Super Bowl winners, the last 20 of them, 60% of the last Super Bowl winners have led that game, that Super Bowl, in rushing. 60% of them. So over half
in that game. Now, how many of those teams had the leading rusher in the league?
Well, that's a different scenario because
it's not.
That is a different scenario.
Because
I'm not expecting Derrick Henry. I'm not expecting Derrick Henry to take the Tennessee Titans to the Super Bowl.
So that means zero.
I
don't believe a rushing leader has ever won the Super Bowl, maybe once or twice.
I didn't do that. I didn't do that math. I can't do that math. But I'm not expecting Derrick Henry, who we can say who's been among the top 5 running backs over the last 5 years. Go ahead and say that Derrick Henry is hindered because he's playing with boo-boo quarterback and boo-boo receivers. So regardless of the production that he puts up, he's not going to lead his team to the Super Bowl. So that tosses out that argument of the Super Bowl of the rushing leader.
No, it doesn't toss out the argument because
it tosses it right out the window.
Because you can Google it. How many leading rushers of the league have won?
Again, I don't have that number right now.
Very small number, if any.
But I just gave you Cleveland. I just gave you. We agree that Derrick Henry is a top 5 running back.
You're not giving me any example of someone who's led the league in rushing that won the Super Bowl.
Cleveland.
I'll help you out.
I just told you why.
Led the league in rushing, won the Super Bowl. Terrell Davis won the rushing title, won the Super Bowl.
Oh, so it has happened then. So it has happened.
Twice in 57 years.
So Cleveland.
Josh Jacobs is not special. You're not going to get me to say Josh Jacobs is special.
I'm not trying to get you to say Josh Jacobs is
special.
You're not
going to get me to say Austin Eckler is special.
I'm not trying to get you to. I'm not. Cleveland, I know you don't know I know you can't identify a special running back. That's already established. What we're saying, what the argument now is what you saying.
I gave you examples. I said Adrian Peterson. I said Marshall Falk.
Cleveland. We're off to a different topic. We're off to a different topic. You just the point you just made is I gave you a stat that 60% of the Super Bowl winners have led the game in rushing. You want to change that around and flip that around and say how many of those teams had Super Bowl.
Some of those guys were Timmy Smith. Some of those guys were.
That's not 20 years. Listen to what I'm saying. Timmy Smith was 40 years ago, Cleveland. You got to listen. Catch up now. Catch up. You got to listen. Okay. And then you want to change the argument to say how many guys who led the league in rushing went to the Super Bowl. And I told you that's a boo-boo. You can't look at that because these teams who lead the league in rushing are playing with boo-boo quarterbacks, boo-boo receivers.
But they got all the way to the Super Bowl?
Evidence
They got all the way to the Super Bowl.
Cleveland, you're not listening. Can you listen? Can you listen to what I'm saying?
I'm
Would
listening.
you listen? You're not listening. Cleveland, that argument of how many Russian leaders have got to the Super Bowl is a poor argument. It's a poor argument because Derrick Henry led the league in rushing in 2020 with 2,000 yards. Okay, he's playing with boo-boo quarterback, boo-boo receivers. The team, he's carrying that team. So therefore, that team is not going to get to the Super Bowl because they're not a well filled out team. He led the league in rushing in 2019. That team is not getting to the Super Bowl because it's not a good team. He's a good player. That's not a good team.
So they got
so that is a poor
they got to the AFC Championship.
Did they get
right?
to the Super Bowl? Was your point? Don't change the argument. They didn't get to the Super Bowl because that's a poor team. That's the point I'm making. So your argument of the NFL rushing leader not getting to the Super Bowl is stupid because oftentimes they're on a bad team. Okay, they're on a bad team. Do you get what I'm saying? That's a poor argument, and I explain why. You pointed out that it hasn't happened. That's why it hasn't happened. I just explained that to you.
Because they're the leading rusher on bad teams.
Can you catch up, man? That's a terrible comparison to make, Cleveland. You try to say it hasn't happened. So you're saying because the rushing doesn't matter because if you lead the league in rushing, you don't go to the Super Bowl. That's exactly what you're saying. When you try to flip the question,
oftentimes does not get to the Super Bowl.
Why? And I explained the reason why. That's a dumb comparison to make. I just explained it to you. Because oftentimes they're on a dumb plane. I just gave you examples. 2 examples, Derrick Henry twice in back-to-back years, led the league in rushing and didn't get to the Super Bowl. So that's explaining why that's a dumb argument. Let's move on. Darren Payne gets paid by the Washington football team. He's another defensive tackle that gets big bucks. Do you expect your Commanders to kind of turn around this season? Now we're coming back off your guy should be coming back from an injury. Deron Payne just gets paid. The defense now has a season from being injury riddled last year to be healthy again this year. Do you expect a turnaround for the Washington Commanders?
I do not, because I don't feel that they've properly addressed the quarterback situation. And I'm not quite sure what Chase Young is really going to produce. I'm not confident.
So is there any confidence in the coach changing things around, bringing that Kansas City culture? I mean, he does have Heineke and Howe. Well, no, he didn't even have Heineke. Heineke's in Atlanta, if I remember correctly. Is there any confidence in the coach?
No.
Just personnel, or it don't look the same without it doesn't look the same without Patrick.
It doesn't look the same without Patrick or Alex Smith. Yeah, those have been year 2.
Alex Smith. You're comparing Patrick to Alex Smith?
No, I'm saying that the 2 quarterbacks that he's been the offensive coordinator underneath. Perhaps he wasn't even the coordinator under Alex Smith, but the 2 preceding quarterbacks in Kansas City were Mahomes and Alex Smith, and he has neither of those in Washington. So,
well, I don't know if Alex Smith is a deciding factor. Tyreek Hill says he will get. He didn't say he might get. He said he will get 200 or 2,000 yards this season. What is more probable? Him getting 2,000 yards receiving or the Dolphins winning the Super Bowl?
It's more probable that he gets 2,000 yards.
Yeah, I'd agree. I take I'll take 1,100 yards, Tyreek Hill, if we can get to the Super Bowl and win it, though, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't care.
But fans, neither one of those two things are happening because the Miami Dolphins actually are not going to make the Super Bowl. I actually just looked through the schedule, and that's not a thing.
I mean, we can look at the schedule on another day. We're not going to do it right now, but we can look at that schedule another day. I mean, you don't have them going to the playoffs, if I remember correct.
No.
Yeah,
No,
and that's without even
the
looking at that's without even looking at the schedule. What are the chances that the Chiefs repeat this year? This would be the first time a team done so since 2004. It seems like so long ago, but what are the chances that happens?
I think they have a real legitimate chance of repeating as Super Bowl champs.
You're going in. Is that better than half? You go Chiefs or the field to win the Super Bowl?
Oh, let's go to the field. I mean, it's 31 other teams. So, yeah.
I mean, is that where you're putting your money on, the field in that bet?
The field, it's always the field, especially in football. And hoop, it's different. Hoop might be like, no, you're not beating those guys. Football, yeah, the field. Every time.
I mean, they got that guy. They got Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's different.
Yeah, cool. Football is a game of attrition and injury, and the field.
So apparently, Zach Martin says he wants more money, or he's gonna hold out. What's the chances that Zach Martin actually holds out?
Very good chance.
The Cowboys offensive guard.
Very good chance.
I think he's the only one, the number one rated lineman in the league right now. So Cleveland, let's look at off the top of your head, the top 5 fantasy defenses going into this season. We're gonna look at the defenses and tight ends. So what are the top? I'll give you mine. You want to give me yours? Which one do you want to go? You want to listen?
Let's go with yours first, and then I will formulate where I'm coming from with this.
Top 5 defenses. San Francisco 49ers, number 1. The Buffalo Bills, number 2. The Miami Dolphins, number 3 fantasy football team going into the season. Pittsburgh Steelers at number 4, and the Dallas Cowboys at number 5. Where am I wrong?
Wow, Cam, I didn't hear a single mention of the New York Jets defense. I didn't hear a single.
You won't.
Didn't hear a single mention of the Philadelphia Eagles defense. Not trying to hear either one of those, or
I mean, the Eagles is where would you put? Who do you take off the list? If you put the Eagles on there, who do you take off the list? You got the Niners, the Bills. The Eagles aren't ahead of the Niners or the Bills, are they? Are they ahead of the Dolphins, Steelers, or Cowboys? It might be I don't know.
They're most definitely ahead of the Cowboys, and they're most definitely ahead of the Dolphins. So why are your Dolphins at number 3? That's weird. It's way too high.
They got Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard. They got linemen. They got so they can lock you up. They should be able to stop the run.
Be behind all the time, man. Those corners, man, they're not going to have a lot to do. They're just going to be running the ball because they have the lead.
Who? What?
The opponent. Yeah.
The opponent is going to be running the ball?
Yeah.
No. They
will, because they'll be ahead all the time.
Okay, so you have the Eagles where at number 3 then?
At least number 3, yeah.
And do you have the Steelers on the list?
Keep Steelers on the list, yeah.
And where are your Jets?
2 or 3 or 4 at the very least.
Okay, all right. So anybody else you want to add to your list?
No, we'll keep it there. Keep it there.
And we'll revisit this one too. When you're looking at the tight ends, the top tight ends in your fantasy draft, I have Kelsey, Mark Ingram, T.J. Hawkinson, Darren Waller, and
Mark
George
Andrews, same out.
Who?
You said Mark Ingram, Mark Andrews. Is that who you're talking about?
Did I say Ingram? I meant Andrews. Yeah, Andrews number 2, Baltimore. Yeah. Yeah. So
Kelsey Andrews, and who?
Hawkinson, the guy got traded from the Lions to the Minnesota, and Darren Waller and Kittles.
That's legit.
Nobody's missing off this list. Interesting. Okay. All right. So yeah, we'll revisit the. I mean, we'll know when draft time comes who gets picked where. So let's jump into this NBA conversation. Let's talk about the summer league takeaways, man. What was your takeaway from NBA summer league? What's your takeaway from summer?
Yeah, my takeaways are congratulations to the Cleveland Cavaliers for winning that, man. That was kind of, out of nowhere. I didn't really expect their team to kind of come through and just be undefeated, just browbeating the other summer league opponents like that. Wow. Jabari didn't win summer league MVP.
Well, they sat him down. They didn't play it.
Yeah, sure. Jaden Sharp didn't really just kill it like he should have.
Yeah,
those were kind of my takeaways.
Shaden Sharp had the one game. I mean, then he came back.
He had the one game, and then it was kind of looking like Shaden Sharp. Like it was like, what's going on here?
Should Chet be eligible for the Rookie of the Year award?
Absolutely.
He should, even though he played last year. I mean, he didn't play the
season. He
didn't
play last year.
He played some games, man. He was traveling.
He's been shut down. He's been shut down since the crossover. What are you talking about?
What I'm saying, he played until he got hurt. He got hurt in the
crossover up here in the 206. What are you talking about? Against
he didn't play any playoff.
He played one game. Not
any summer league. That's what I mean. No, he didn't play any games in the regular season. I know he got hurt, but I thought he got hurt in summer league.
No, he got hurt at the crossover.
But he was on the team, man. He got to work out with the team. He got
absolutely 100%. Never played an NBA game. You should be eligible for being Rookie of the Year. Why would you not if you never played in an NBA game?
Because the rookie coming into the season.
Man, come on, man.
I mean, like
he never played in a professional NBA basketball game. Why wouldn't he be considered a rookie?
He was drafted last year, and he's been in the environment. He's been in an environment. He's had a chance to build up weight. He's been to hit NBA food. He's been on a plane. He knows what he's expecting versus Scoot Henderson, who's coming off from a G League, or versus Wemby, who's coming from France. Like he has an understanding of what's this game going to take. That would be my argument. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. That would be my argument of why he shouldn't be eligible for the Rookie of the Year award. Should James Harden, man? Do you want James Harden? Now you talking about being special. You talked about being in the last segment. You talking about special players. How do you feel about James Harden? Do you want James Harden on your team? Should the Sixers want him? Should the Clippers want him? Should anybody want James Harden?
You know what would be ideal is if the Clippers offered the Sixers a really, great package with like Batum and Man and what's my man's name? Zubac?
Come on, man. Cut it out,
man. For James Harden.
Funny,
you can keep PG-13.
You just trying to
lie.
You just trying to
and just get that third piece.
All right, fans.
The third piece.
Levon's just trying to crack jokes right now. He's not even taking it serious. He's just trying to take it serious.
That's real.
And they're not listening to Man, Batum and Zubac. They're not listening to that. Nobody's doing that.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
Philly might drive Harden.
Zubac and Batum. Zubac and Batum.
No. I'm
two-
not giving
and two
you either
first
one of
rounders.
those guys. I'm not giving you any one of my consistent players who I know. Who I know is going to play. Who I know is going to show.
Former NBA MVP. You're not
That's
giving
right.
up like some players
You're exactly
that have
right.
never made an All-Star team.
You're exactly right. Who never made All-Star, but you're exactly right. I'm not doing it. I'm not giving you two of my.
I love that trade.
Role players.
Love that trade.
Yeah, I bet you do. And I hang up on you so fast. If you Philly calling LA for Zubac, Batum, and Man, no, get out of here. What? Yeah, you're gonna be stuck with them. You're gonna be stuck with them again. Come on, get out of here. Yeah. So again, he's proven he's not he's not in the Kyrie category, but he's proven in good situation he doesn't want to be.
He's a little bit above a Kyrie category because he's been the most valuable player in the National Basketball Association. He's led the league 2 of the last 3 years in assists and 3 times scoring champion.
Okay. He didn't want to be in Brooklyn in that situation where they had a chance to win. He doesn't want to play with the reigning league MVP. I don't understand. What's he coming to LA for? What's he coming to LA? Because you want
to help the Clippers win a championship.
No, I can't count on this. And next season, he's going to talk about, I want to get out of here. I don't want that player around. 2 of the last 3 seasons.
Not if they're winning and they have a positive environment, which Tyronn Lue can create for Paul George is a great guy. Kawhi's been through his trials and tribulations. They can bring him under their wing.
He's not the guy. I'm not trying to turn around.
I like Harden for the Clippers. That's one of my favorite trades, right?
You're joking. Yeah, you got jokes. You got jokes. Do you want to Harden on the Lakers? Let's put it like that. Do you want to give? Would you give up Austin Reeves?
The Lakers right now. The Lakers right now are working on chemistry, and what they've built is kind of special in a lot of ways.
Would you give up Austin Reeves, Hachimura, and Kenneth Walker is gone, and would you give up just those 2 guys, Hachimura and Austin Reeves, for James Harden?
Oh yeah, they're gone. Out the door.
Really?
Out the door. For James Harden? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Daryl Morey. You better call up Rob Pelinka.
You can get Hachimura and Austin Reeves. You can get
I mean, I don't know who else
grandson. You can get grandson of Jarrell, and
they just signed Gabe. I might throw Gabe Vincent in the mix. Would you give those 2 and Gabe Vincent?
Oh man, see, look at you prying.
I mean,
look at you prying. Look at you prying. Why you prying?
And you said that too quick. You said that quick. I gotta see who else is on the list. Yeah. I gotta see what else I can get out of that. Yeah. Let me see. You said it a little too quick with that. Like, yeah.
Zubac, the Man, and the Batum. Stick with that, man.
No, I'm good. I'm surprised you would give that up for Harden, though. I'm surprised you will give that up to Harden. So, I mean, I touched on it during our Sunday special. LeBron, retirement. Who's he fooling? Did he fool? Did any Laker fan think LeBron was retiring last season at the end of the season, or was he just trying to steal some shine from the Denver Nuggets, who swept them out the playoffs last year?
Well, Cam, as a Los Angeles Lakers fan, I was certainly concerned, especially considering his mental and physical state.
Oh, you're questioning LeBron's mentality now? You're questioning LeBron's mental status? You're questioning LeBron's mental status. This is the first time I heard you saying this.
What I'm trying to say is that he was emotionally. What I'm trying to say is that he was emotionally, physically, psychologically spent.
A little fragile mentally. He was a little fragile mentally.
the season took upon him.
He just couldn't handle it. He just couldn't handle the loss, and that was his way of dealing with the loss and saying, "I quit."
He wasn't sure which direction he wanted to turn, and the questions were asked kind of in a flurry. When you're one of the top 5 greatest players to ever pick up a basketball, the questions come fast and furious. Like Dom, the Vin Diesel character, the questions come fast and furious. So, he wasn't able to really answer them right at once. He was like, man, right now, the way I'm feeling, I'm just not 100% sure, man. Let me
LeBron been in NBA 20 years, and now you're telling me he don't know how to handle the press conferences? He was a little fragile mentally. He couldn't digest what the question that was being asked.
That's where you say it like that. So he's been in the league 20 years, and how many of those years has he been in the championship?
I mean, what did that have to do with anything? You keep trying to flip up.
So
he wasn't in the championship last year. That's a point.
Because Cam doesn't want to answer this question. Half of his career has been playing for the NBA.
What did that have to do with him being able to answer
10
questions?
Of the 20 years, 10 of the 20 years that Cam is talking about.
Listen to you try to flip the script around.
Playing for a championship.
Well, he wasn't playing for the championship last year. He got swept out of the Western Conference Championship.
So first of all, Cameron, LeBron James is 56 years old. Okay, he's trying to work his way back into shape. He had a horrific injury that he played through.
For LeBron James. So you're making excuses.
He had a horrific injury that he had to play through. Okay, and now he's got children on the horizon that he's just trying to hang on until they're ready to come on board and play a few games together, man. Run a few sets, man.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that. So he's trying to hang on to play with his children. So it's not really about the game of basketball and getting to another final, since you want to put up that he's been in the final so many times. So it's not about that. It's just trying to hang on to get to another final or to play with his children.
So Cam, when you play for the championship 10 times, playing for the championship is not your ultimate goal, like Joel Embiid and Damian Lillard. And some of those other players of that stature that have done some things but have never played for a championship. No, if you play for the championship 10 times, that's not your ultimate goal. Right now, it's being a good father to his children, and trying to get the the platinum fist.
Fans, we're losing fans with this BS that you're spewing all over the airwaves. We're losing fans with this. Fans, Cleveland. Cleveland is telling me, a Laker fan, a LeBron stan, that he is now he's not mentally strong enough to handle the loss. He's not mentally strong enough to handle the press conference and the questions being thrown at him at the end of the season. That
Cameron,
he decided to throw out that
were you aware that LeBron James has played almost 10 years of playoff basketball?
I'm not sure what that has to do with him, with his inability to answer questions that you put in. You said he was mentally wore out.
He was just mentally, physically, and emotionally spent after that last time. He did all he could do, and plus he was hurt. So when you ask him the question, like 35 seconds after the series is over, Malika Andrews, like, damn, you gonna play next year? Like, man, right now, I don't know.
So it was a cop out, basically. It was a cop out.
Right then and there, the way he was feeling, he was uncertain about what his NBA future, was going to hold.
Okay, I get it now. It was a cop out. Basically, you're telling me it was a cop out, and I'll buy that. It was a cop out, and he wasn't mentally strong enough to answer the questions. I'll buy that, Cleveland. I'll buy it from you.
Hey, Skipper. I know you and Skipper, are like exchanging texts and stuff, with the the laugh emoji, the smile emoji, the cry emoji, whatever. But yeah, man, sometimes players just need a break, man. Even at the pinnacle of their career, even when everybody expects a championship or you're nothing, they don't really do that about other players. But LeBron, absolutely. If he didn't play for the championship, it's a failure.
Let's see if you're going to give LeBron a pass on this one here.
If you don't play for a championship, because we watched you play for the championship 8 years in a row, if you don't play for a championship, the season's a failure.
So,
and you can't even reevaluate how you feel after playing 20 years in the league, or otherwise people are gonna talk about you. Oh man, you just trying to get attention. Man, I just don't know if I want to play. I've done everything there is to do in this game. You know, I don't know much more I can do other than play with my children.
Again, since you're going to give him a pass on his BS retirement, unretirement announcement that he had last week on the ESPYs, are you going to give him the same pass for changing his number back to Jordan's number? Number.
Oh, right,
Bill Russell's
Skipper,
number.
right, Skipper, right back to you. Did you and Mr. Bayless exchange text before this show?
Well, I don't know what Bayless has anything to do with this. I'm asking a legit question.
You don't remember when I was on the mute and you was talking about all the dichotomy that went into him changing his number and trying to get attention, and oh man, you know,
I mean, why can't
like it wasn't a tribute to somebody?
It wasn't a tribute. If you wanted to tribute to know, if it was respect to Bill Russell, why you even put on number 6? You know who Bill Russell was before you won number 6?
Because it was a tribute after the late great Bill Russell passed away.
Again, he knew who Bill Russell was before
rolling into the next season, understanding the significance that Bill Russell had on the game.
Cut it out. Why you wearing Michael Jordan's number though? Why you wearing Michael Jordan's number
again? Oh, thanks.
Why can't you wear the 37?
Thanks so much for bringing that up.
Why can't you wear number 47?
I'm so sorry. I forgot when Michael Jordan patented the number 23, like it could only belong to him and him only. Is that a real thing?
I mean, it was retired in Miami.
Where do they do that?
He couldn't wear that.
It's retired in Chicago and in North Carolina, but where else is it retired?
I mean, it probably should be retired all over the league.
Okay. So that's your opinion.
But if you call him
your opinion is that because Michael Jordan wore it should be retired. However,
I mean, Michael Jordan is a GOAT.
King LeBron James is saying, you know what, in absolute respect of the 11-time champion, all these awards named after him, I'm just not going to do that this year.
I mean, Kobe didn't even do that. Kobe said, I want to be one better than you. I'm going to wear 24. So Kobe didn't even try to wear Jordan's number. But
Kobe changed his number for legal reasons. And, you know, Kobe's my guy. But, hey, man, do we have to go back to that?
I mean, he said for legal reasons. So, listen, again, he didn't change it to 23. He didn't change it to 23, though. Why? You know, he didn't try to wear 32 and be like somebody else. He created his own number, 24. That's retired in the rafters down there in Staples Center. That were right next to
simple mathematics. Cam, it was 8 times.
It
was 8 times 3. It was 8 times. It was 8 times 3. The amount of championships at the time when he changed the number.
His numbers retired. The new numbers retired right next to
Pau Gasol. 8 times 3. It was 8 times 3. The number of championships that he had when he changed his number.
Okay. Why couldn't your guy LeBron change his number to 37? Why couldn't he wear 41? Why couldn't he wear 52? Make that number famous.
Yeah.
Why he has to copy somebody else's number?
Again, back to your weird logic. Like, why some weird arbitrary number that like doesn't make any sense just to appease? It's just to appease you. How about just wearing 23? He's wearing 23 a whole bunch of times.
Again, my question is. Why did he copy Michael Jordan's number? Why didn't he pick his own number? Why didn't he wear number 9? Why didn't he wear number 13? Why didn't he wear number 33?
9 years was 23, and then it was 6 for 4, and then another 8 years of 23. Wait, I mean, you act like he's fell into this number just like arbitrarily, like, oh man,
he came in the league with Jordan's number. Why are you ignoring that? Why are you ignoring that? That's what you want to ignore. Why do you want to ignore that? The question is, why couldn't he wear number 2 and make that famous? Why couldn't he wear number 92 and make that famous?
Years, and I'm assuming that you understand this. 14 of those years, he wore the number 23. That's 70% of his career.
That is my question. What Cleavon knows when he came into the league with chosen written on his shoulder, tattooed on his shoulders. Why couldn't he pick The number 37.
I can't speculate on what he did when he was 17
48.
years old, Cameron. Why are you trying to speculate on why he picked a number when he was 17 years old from Akron, Ohio, just trying to make a living, just trying to find a way in this world?
Okay, so why not? Why at 40, at 38? Why didn't he pick the number 38?
Because he's already had that number and he's already had success with that number. He's just going back to that number. He switched from the 6 just to give some tribute to Bill Russell.
I don't know what's a tribute. I think the tribute is a BS argument there. You knew who Bill Russell was before you wore number 6. Cut it out.
Okay, and when he deceased, he felt a special obligation to, give more tribute to the number than even before.
So Cleveland, let's get into this other debate about since you want to go back in the history of the NBA. Who was most influential in the NBA? There was I'll tell you my pick, but I sent you a list yesterday, and the list had what the list had: Michael Jordan, Stephen Curry, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Allen Iverson. Out of those 6 players, let's just leave it to those. Well, I guess you can throw anybody else in there you want. Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Allen Iverson. Who was most influential in the NBA?
Need to ask you to clarify your definition of influence.
Influence? Okay, good question. That's a good question. I would say who changed the game the most?
Will Chamberlain.
I don't remember mentioning Wilt Chamberlain, but Wilt Chamberlain did play against a bunch of doctors and lawyers
and when he did, the lane was really, really narrow. And after his induction into the NBA, they widened it, like way wider.
Okay. Out of the guys I mentioned, Cleveland, Magic Jordan or Michael Jordan, Steph Curry.
Well, from a revenue
Kobe
perspective,
Bryant.
no one has been more influential than Michael Jordan. That can't be questioned.
Well, that was a good question that you asked.
If that's your criteria, well, then it's Michael Jordan. There's
revenue. Not even revenue. Who kind of changed the game? Whose game has been more influential? Whose game do you see more players playing like? Whose game has captivated the youth of America?
Those are 4 different things, man. Those are 4 different things.
I don't think it's 4 different answers, though. I don't think it's 4 different answers.
It absolutely is 4 different answers.
I think since you refuse to answer the question, the top 3 guys.
Who created the most revenue? Who created the most?
I didn't say anything about revenue. I didn't mention revenue.
Okay,
you mentioned revenue.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's your criteria. That's your criteria.
Spotlight on the game, marketability. It's Michael Jordan. There is no second, third, fourth, or fifth place.
So you're stuck in what Michael Jordan did from 86 to 2000.
I believe that Jordans are still the highest selling sneaker in the NBA, and Michael Jordan hasn't played since I was 16 years old.
Yeah. Well, however, I wasn't thinking revenue. Revenue wasn't a factor in my decision. I was thinking more so of how the game is played, the style of play that has influenced the way this generation has played the game, or the next generation has played the game. I think Allen Iverson has had a much more influential style of play that has influenced the game of basketball. Because if you remember from when Allen Iverson came in the league in '96, the palming the ball was the way to cross anybody over from '96 to 2010. I mean, that's everybody was palming the ball. Everybody start wearing the cornrows like Iverson. Everybody start getting the tattoos like Iverson. So revenue wasn't one of my factors. If you want to
So
go to
not
revenue,
okay.
if you want to go to revenue, I can. It's a hard argument against Michael Jordan because just the way society has changed. And Michael Jordan was in the middle of that to change. Obviously, Magic and Bird brought the game from being tape delayed to being on primetime TV, and then Michael Jordan carried that even further. And now they're getting shoe deals, bigger television deals, etc. That can't be argued. I wasn't thinking revenue when I asked the question, but you make a good point. But I think again, the way Allen Iverson's style of play, his influence to the NBA culture had much more influence outside of revenue than Michael Jordan. Because again, the tattoos are you don't even look twice when you see players with sleeve tattoos, which Allen Iverson brought to the league. Not as many cornrows today as you saw from when 2000 to 2010, but that was certainly an influence on the game, right? I think even more influential than to the game of basketball or to the NBA, I should say, would be Steph Curry and his simple um, ball handling and just his 3 pointers. What we see now, again, he birthed the Damian Lillard. He birthed the Trey Young. He birthed everybody trying to shoot 3 pointers. Made the 3 point shot cool. Um, Before Steph came in the game, gunning and taking all these 3 pointers, nobody wasn't shooting 3 pointers like that. Whether that's the way the guys played it before. I mean, MJ was doing the turnaround jumper. And why I say again, outside, you have a great point with Michael Jordan. I'm gonna take Michael Jordan out of this argument because I'm not I'm taking the revenue argument out of this argument because Michael Jordan, I mean that again, nobody's able to touch that, and you make a great point with the shoe. But every when everybody, Kobe Bryant specifically, was doing turnaround jumpers, Steph came in the league shooting 3 pointers. Like that was nobody. Everybody didn't have Michael Jordan's mentality. Everybody is not 6'6" and can jump out of the gym. So therefore, everybody wasn't going. Everybody can't do that. Everybody can dribble. Everybody can palm the ball and carry the ball like Allen Iverson did. But Steph is taking that to a different level because everybody feels like they can shoot 3 pointers. That 3 pointers wasn't synonymous with a size, wasn't synonymous with height, wasn't synonymous with ball handling abilities. Everybody can shoot the three if you're on the court. So that really influenced the game and kind of changed the game, in my opinion. So I have Steph, AI, and MJ in as the top three in game influencers. You want to go with Michael Jordan? It's hard to argue the revenue side of what Michael Jordan did to the game. That's really hard to argue.
Okay. LeBron is coming up in second on that with regards to the influence on the game and how the game is played, in addition to how the game is played off the court. I have grappled back and forth since Sunday with your analysis that Steph Curry is more influential because more people can relate to his size and the opportunity to shoot from way far away. In a lot of ways, it's really, been a detriment to the game because it's got a bunch of people thinking they can do that. They can't really do that. And they are expecting results from doing that they're not actually going to get. My cat Ice Tray, love him to death. He's not Steph Curry.
It's 30%. Yeah, that's a very good point. That is a very good point. However, that doesn't stop Cat from wanting to shoot the three. That
doesn't stop him having the desire. And then, I saw that dude do it. So, man, that gives me hope and confidence that I can do it, but you just can't do it like that.
Teams are now shooting upwards of 30 3-pointers a game.
Sure.
Like, you heard
because if you can get somebody like Steph Curry to do it, yeah. It's
The
amazing.
The Boston Celtics, when even though the coach was kind of being a little stubborn and hard headed, when they said, to the Missoula, did you guys shoot too many threes when they went like 10 for 40? He said, no, we didn't shoot enough.
Yeah,
That was never said 20 years ago. We didn't shoot. We need to shoot more threes. We went 10 for 40.
But Cam, you're missing the other side of that, right? The reason that they want to do that is because they don't have anybody that you can just throw the ball into the post and just turn and get a bucket. So it's always more beneficial to just try and get that extra point from way, way out there because you don't have a solution to doing that.
The game has evolved to where they don't have many big men. They don't have many
I
Nikola
know.
Jokic. They don't have many Nikola Jokic that you can dump the ball in. They don't have many more Joel Embiid that you can dump the ball into. In fact, Joel Embiid is trying to shoot 3-pointers. Nikola Jokic was shooting 3-pointers in the NBA Finals.
They do a little bit of that, but I mean that's just kind of to stretch the court. It's not because they don't have the physical capability of scoring in closer.
I think that's an influence on the game.
You can't force feed the ball to Steph Curry in the post.
Right.
But he has to shoot from 30 feet away.
Again, that has caused other
players to try and replicate that type of
the league is doing that. It's not. It's
how's
the
that
league is
worked out
doing
for
that.
them? What's another team that's done that without a dominant post presence?
What are you talking about? The NBA Finals MVP shooting 3-pointers. I'm not understanding what your point.
The NBA Finals MVP is 7 feet tall,
and he's shooting 3-pointers.
He's not Steph Curry size.
And he's shooting 3-pointers.
My point is, the year before that was Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's not doing that either.
We don't need him shooting 3-pointers.
Was the King. He's not doing that either.
He tries to. He's trying. You don't want him doing that, but he certainly tries to.
He's trying to. He's trying to replicate Steph Curry's game.
He's shooting. The 3-pointers is what I'm talking about.
Oh wow! Okay, watch next.
It's not replicating Steph Curry. It's replicating shooting 3-pointers from the logo.
Bet Steph Curry shoots more 3-pointers than LeBron James.
I'm sorry.
I said bet Steph Curry shoots more 3-pointers than LeBron James.
I don't understand your point again. No.
Your point is he was trying to replicate Steph Curry's game. Like,
I didn't say he's trying to replicate the game. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying Jokic and Embiid are trying to replicate Steph Curry. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that's his influence on the basketball of NBA basketball is that teams are now shooting 3-pointers
because regular people feel empowered to try and go out and try and replicate what Steph Curry's been able to do, and so far no one else has been able to do it.
Yeah, that's not stopping them from trying, though.
Stopping them from trying.
That's not. You're right. I'm not saying there's 1,000 Steph Currys running around. That's not what I'm making. I'm saying him shooting 3-pointers at the rate he shoots 3-pointers have caused and birthed many more guys to shoot 3-pointers and try to shoot them at his rate. That's what I'm saying. Do you understand that?
No, I get that.
So I'm not saying that Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid are trying to beat Steph Curry. That's not at all what I said. I'm saying his influence on the game has changed the game so much that you have a team, Boston Celtics, who went 10 for 40. And the coach says, he was asked, do they need to reduce their 3-point shots? And he says, no, we need to shoot more. That's the influence of Steph Curry shooting 3-pointers. It's not that they're trying to beat Steph Curry.
So your argument is more from the inferiority aspect of it because you don't have someone that can do that. It's much easier to get someone that's kind of Steph Curry size to try that.
Why are you trying to change up what I'm saying? Cleveland, I've made it very clear of what I'm saying. His influence on the game has anybody who walks into a gym trying to shoot a abundance of 3-pointers.
And that's what I just said.
No,
he's giving everyone this false sense of security that, yeah, I can just shoot it like Steph.
similar to between 96 and 2010 when everybody was trying to cross somebody over and carrying the ball. And they were then everybody who played in that era was trying to cross you up and literally carrying the ball until Allen Iverson went to Denver and he was half of himself or 30%. Excuse me, the guy he was in Philly. Then they said, okay, that's a travel. We're going to call that from now on. And then that eliminate that move out of the game. So that eliminate for 15 years, or cats tried to do that until they legislated that out of the game. Is that, do you understand that?
Sure.
Hold on, I got to go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. I got that. So we'll lay down the arguments, fam, but we're going to get you in there. There you again, that was a good argument, BD. Thanks for chiming in on that. BD's argument was the Eagles, the team, led the league in rushing. So it wasn't just a player leading the league in rushing. So there you go, BD. I got you. I feel you. I'm sorry. It's a little late, but I got you in there. And SB, your Dolphins delusional are right up there with Cleveland's. That's a good one. That's a good one right there. But I just saw those chimes in and want to get the fans in there. But you understand what I'm saying? That's why I said from AI that his influence kind of got outside of the tats and the cornrows. His influence kind of on the game, specifically on the court, kind of got legislated out. So Steph Curry game actually teams bought into this legislation or bought into his influence by trying to catch more threes. That's my argument with Steph Curry. Again, Michael Jordan, I think both of those were more influential than Michael Jordan's turnaround, tongue wagging, turnaround jumper, the dunks. Again, just everybody can't do that. So I think it was only one guy, Kobe Bryant, who really tried to. Well, there was a lot of people who tried, but Kobe Bryant perfected it. That's a guy who's 6'6" who's going to be on the court. I think what AI and Steph did was just more influential because there's more guys their size. Everybody dribbles the ball, right? Even little men are going to have the ball in their hands. So everybody's trying to cross somebody over the guy in front of you. Everybody's trying to catch threes. More guys are trying to shoot from deep than was trying to cross you up. And outside of revenue, if you want to bring revenue in the game, Michael Jordan, that's a hard one to argue. But as far as on the court, the game impacting the game of basketball, those two had influence. Now you want to change the argument to take to off the court. I mean, Michael Jordan is up there, but yeah, you can't argue what LeBron has done off the court as a businessman. I mean, that's not the argument, though. I'm talking about the influence of the NBA. LeBron's influence has just been on young men in general. That's a whole nother world. That's not even what I'm debating here.
Okay, well, I will not debate with you any longer. Yes, Steph Curry is closer to regular people size than the other players. So if you're saying that he has more influence because regular sized people feel empowered to go out and try and shoot from far away and have success in the NBA because previously they weren't able to do so, then I agree.
I mean, if you need to twist up my word for you to agree, I'll buy that.
That's not twisting up your words. That's exactly what you just said.
I didn't say anything about regular people. I didn't say anything about that. I didn't say anything about regular people.
You said that he's had more influence on the game because regular people feel like they have a chance.
Joe Embiid and Nikola Jokic, are they regular people? Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic, are they regular people? They're not.
They're not regular.
They're right, exactly. So that dispels your argument. The point that you just tried to make.
That's not the Steph Curry effect. That's just the effect of. That's just the effect of bigger
basketball
people.
has changed.
that's just the effect of bigger people shooting from further away.
So you're just being
For
stubborn and not
example,
want to listen.
Karl
You're just being
Anthony
stubborn.
Towns won the 3-point contest last year. Is that the
What?
Steph Curry effect?
For shooting more threes? Absolutely. For a big guy shooting more threes, yes. I just gave you an example of the Boston Celtics when the coach says we need to shoot more threes. That's not because of Steph Curry. That's because of the more Steph Curry has shown that their three-pointer has a bigger impact to the game. And now, because that three-pointer has a bigger impact to the game, we're going to shoot more threes. I don't understand why it's
Because
hard
of Steph
to
Curry.
Okay. I don't understand why that's so hard to grasp. I really don't. So, fans, let's take a break here. When we come back, we're going to get to our This Week in History. We're going to get to This Week in History. We're going to talk some Major League Baseball. But let's take a little quick break right here.
Planning a vacation can be a lot of work, and you never know if you're really getting the best deal. Working with an Evolution agent and booking an all-inclusive resort takes the stress out of planning a vacation. Where else can you stay in high-end accommodations, eat at your choice of restaurants, and have fun, all covered under one cost? With an all-inclusive vacation, you can relax and have fun without worrying about the bill. And when it comes time to find your perfect all-inclusive, your Evolution agent is ready to help. Do you want a family resort with fun for all ages? Or an adults-only getaway for any type of couple? Your Evolution agent knows the best places to go, the best time of year, and what to really expect. Call your Evolution agent and let them do the planning for you. So all you have to do is relax and enjoy a stress-free prepaid vacation. Call today. They have access to timely specials that will end soon.
What's good, fans? Thank you guys for tuning in again to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Give yourself a round of applause. This has been a heated show tonight. Cleveland got a lot of stuff to get off his chest. He feels I muted him on our Sunday special, but he has a lot to get off his chest today. I don't know, fans. Let me know in the chat. Do you understand what I'm talking about when I say the most influence in basketball? Help me out. Hit me up on Twitter @_voice of the fans, at @_voice of the fans. Hit me up on Twitter. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying about the most influencer in basketball. Am I wrong in that? Am I not explaining it correctly? Let me know what you think. Also, when you go back to our argument that we had about running the running game impacting the NFL, do you understand my argument there? That 60% of teams of the last 20 Super Bowl winners led the game in rushing, and how that's been an impact on the Super Bowl winners. Let me know. Hit me up @_voice of the fans, @_voice of the fan. Let me know if you can grasp what I'm talking about, or am I crazy or is Cleveland crazy? Let me know @_voice of the fans. Hit me up. Let me know. Again, Cleveland. Thanks for participating in the heated debate, heated discussion today, man. Heated discussion. You was sitting on this for a couple days, huh? You want to really get some stuff off your chest from Sunday afternoon, huh?
Oh yeah, I didn't really like the look of that, man. Yeah.
Hey man, we'll get your stuff together over there.
And just say whatever you want. Yeah, that was a bad look.
Again, okay, fans. Every week we give you This Week in History. I'm not sure what podcast is looking back at and giving you historical facts that has impacted America. Not only the sports world, but impacted America. I'm not sure who else is giving you these facts, fans. Let us know what you think about the facts that we give you. Do you appreciate the historical lessons that we share each week? If you do, hit us up in the chat. Hit us up once again @_voice of the fans, @_voice of the fans. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. But July 15th, 1822, Cleveland, 1822, public schools for blacks were opened in Philadelphia. July 22nd, President Lincoln first read the draft Emancipation Proclamation to the cabinet. It was then revised later that year. But the first reading of the Emancipation Proclamation was read by President Lincoln July 22nd, 1861. July 19th, 1967, the first coast-to-coast owned and operated radio network, the National Black Network, NBN, began operation, 1967. On the same day, 1967, the first Black Power Conference was held in Newark, New Jersey, with over 1,000 in attendance. July 25th, 1970, Charles Condon won Pulitzer Prize for his play No Peace or No Place for Somebody. Excuse me. Charles Condon won Pulitzer Prize for his play No Place to Be Somebody back in July 25th, 1970. July 25th, 1943, first warship named for a Black person, the SS Leonard Roy Harmon. Why is the first guy to get a warship named after him was named Leonard? Roy Harmon launched in Quincy, Massachusetts. July 19th, 1950, the New York Yankees signed their first Black players, Elston Howard and Frank Baines. Cleveland, got a little trivia question for you here. See if you can catch this one. July 20th, 2021, Giannis Antetokounmpo finished the game with 50 points, 14 rebounds, 5 blocks to power the Milwaukee Bucks past the Phoenix Suns in Game 6 of their first NBA Finals win since 1971. Cleveland, there are now 6 national players to win Finals MVP. Can you name them?
There are 6 international
There are
players.
now 6 international players to win Finals MVP in the NBA. NBA Finals MVP. Can you name them?
Joker.
Yep, that's 1.
Giannis.
That's 2.
I can get this.
You know all these guys, so it shouldn't be that difficult. You know,
Dirk.
Dirk is 3.
Hakeem.
Hakeem is 4. 2 more to go.
Tony Parker.
Tony Parker is 5. 1 more to go. He has a teammate that did it.
Manu Ginobili won an MVP?
Did Manu Ginobili win a Finals MVP?
Did he?
You tell me.
I'm gonna throw it out there. Yeah.
Come on, you know better than that. Manu Ginobili did not win a.
Okay. Well, then what's your teammate?
He has a teammate.
Tony Parker has a teammate that won the Finals MVP.
Come on, man. Who won it before Tony Parker?
An international player? I guess Tim Duncan is from the Virgin Islands. It's not really international though. They're part of the United States.
Yeah, Tim Duncan is the other guy. Yeah,
the U.S. Virgin Islands is where he's from. How's that count?
I mean, they count that as international. And so, yeah, that he was international.
You see, fans. You see how Cam be doing. The country that Tim Duncan is from is called the U.S. Virgin Islands, and then he throws some like international like. What's international when you start? When you start the name of your country with U.S. There's nothing.
Hey, I pulled that. I pulled that facts. That's down in that's in the record books. That's how it is in the record books. I understand your argument, but that's exactly how it is in the record book. So Cleveland, go ahead. Tell us about Alcatraz defeating Jokic in over 4 hours at the Wimbledon Finals. It was Alcaraz. Excuse me. It was a little early for me. I probably game 2 through 4, 2 through 5 before I dozed off. But it looked like the young boy, from what I saw, he was playing his heart out. He was playing his game and had Jokic diving for balls and landing on his butt and frustrated there. Go ahead and tell us what you think about it, Mr. Tennis.
For sure. I mean, the first set, Joker crushed him 6-1. Alcaraz was able to bounce back in the second and win the tiebreaker after being down 3 points in the tiebreaker. Came back and got that one. Got the third set, and then Djokovic came through on the fourth set and just made it all about the fifth set. And Alcaraz didn't quit, didn't tire, continued to hit big shots. I was impressed with his ability to raise the level of his game and keep it there consistently and continue to do things that kept Djokovic off balance. And wow, we'll have to see where this goes.
What does this mean, or does this mean anything for tennis? Does this elevate tennis? Do you think more eyeballs are on tennis? I mean, again, I actually tuned in for some of this, and I can proudly say I don't watch much tennis at all. Do you think this elevates tennis above, because now we got a young guy who's kind of defeated one of the historical champions of the game? Do you think this Alcaraz is able to draw more eyes to the sport of tennis?
I don't think this necessarily raises the level of attention in the game, especially on the men's side. I think what gave a lot of attention was the fact that there were 3 people that were kind of at the same time for like the last 5 years, kind of going back and forth between who had the most Grand Slam titles. And so it was always very high level, and at least 2 of those 3, well, obviously 2 of those 3 would potentially be in the finals of every Grand Slam. You have just Djokovic kind of still standing, and Alcaraz kind of knocking on the door. Djokovic was able to beat Alcaraz fairly easily. I shouldn't say fairly easily. He had cramps at the French, so he was able to win on grass. Next surface is hard court at the U.S. Open, but I feel like it was more exciting when there was 3 people that you legitimately thought could win a championship at any time, and right now I think it's just 2, so not quite as exciting.
Okay. The Mountain West welcomes back San Diego State University after they were homeless for a couple months there. What do you think about this? Do you give Mountain West a pat on the back? Should San Diego State be happy they got into a division? What do you think about this move?
San Diego State should be happy. They kind of got, they got a little, tipsy out there Saturday night, had a few too many shots, thought they were going to do something different. And then it was Monday morning. Like, oh man, I better go back to where I was actually supposed
to go back to work, huh?
Yeah. All that grandiose, level of activity, you need to tone that back a little bit. I tried to get with Halle Berry, it didn't work out. Gotta go back home.
What do you? So speaking about that, what do you think about the now the pack. I mean, what is it? Excuse me, it's not even the pack no more. It's the Big 15 is going to be the Big 10 expanding from coast to coast. What do you think about the Big 10 expanding from coast to coast? So now they're going to be playing from, again, that's the only division in college football that's going, or in college sports really, that's going to be a team in Pennsylvania all the way from to a team in Southern California. What's your thoughts on that?
They don't know what they're doing, man. They're just trying to throw a bunch of teams together. They get a lot of viewers, a lot of fan base. They have no idea how that's going to really work out.
So you're not impressed with the new UCLA versus Penn State rivalry, or
No.
the USC versus Rutgers rivalry? That doesn't enter, doesn't move at all?
No, I mean, again, more viewers, more streamers, but there's no rivalry there because there's no history or tradition. You can't just manufacture a tradition, right?
So, well, tradition doesn't matter apparently. Now, tradition doesn't matter apparently because
right.
What is
right.
the Oklahoma and Texas? They won't be playing each other anymore. So that's gone by the side. So, is it just eyeball?
It's just eyeball. That's all that counts.
All that matters now. Is that good or bad for the game of it's going to be primarily college football?
I mean, it's good for the game in regards to, it generates more revenue and more attention to what's going on because you have, different seating and whatnot. But no, those people that have hated Ohio State forever, Michigan fans or vice versa, or those, really deep, there are some conferences, Cam, where those things aren't even going to happen anymore. I mean, it's going to be a point where,
that's what I mentioned. Oklahoma,
the Iron Bowl. I mean, they'll try and keep that together. You've already mentioned the the Red Rivers over,
the Red
right?
River rivalry, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you're going to lose a whole bunch of those.
So is that better though that you miss? What is it? Iowa is not going to be playing. Who's their rivalry? They're not going to be playing
Iowa State.
Not Iowa State. They play for some BS cup. But there's like you said, there's a lot of traditions that are breaking apart for the dollar. But now you're going to get UCLA and Ohio State. Like, are you interested in that one? Are you interested in seeing that Big Ten Pac-10 matchup, which you only saw again, kind of like interleague baseball, where you only saw that at the bowl game? Now that's going to be every year.
Yeah, I mean that's not the same as USC UCLA. I mean it's not the same thing. I mean you have to kind of build up to it. It's not like kind of just out the chute going to be like, ooh, let's see what they can do. I mean it's year one, right?
By the time they play 20 games, they may not get to 20 games. I mean, by the time
might be fragmented and reconfigured again, exactly.
In a couple of years. So over the weekend, man, boxing has been awarding its fans a lot with big fights. Frank Martin fought Artem Harutyunyan. It looked like I know I'm butchering his name. Harutyunyan was winning that fight. He probably should have won it. Well, he was winning that fight until he took a knee in the 12th round. Never seen that happen before. He was winning the fight primarily. Frank Martin came on strong in the 10th, 11th, and in the 12th, Artem took a knee. It looked like with 30 seconds to go, it looked like he could have hugged, and Frank Martin hit him with a couple shots that had him wobbly, and he was backing up. It wasn't like wobbly and fell. He was backing up, and just took a knee. Like it was the craziest thing. I never saw it. Some people could say that it was he got reminded that he had a big purse coming. But it was like, yeah, he was hit. He was hit now with a couple shots, and it wasn't like Frank Martin was on top of him, pounding on him. He was backing up, and looked like for 30 seconds, if he stuck in, if he stepped to him and hugged him, and he could have, stayed alive for 30 seconds. There was 30 seconds left to go in the fight, and he took a knee. I've seen a fighter take a knee, but I've never seen a fighter who was ahead. If he doesn't lose that 10-8 round, he possibly wins that fight. But he took the knee. That was a knockout. That was a knockdown. That was a 10-8 round now for Martin, who was behind on the cards. And then he ended up winning the fight by 1 or 2 points on judges' cards. Like it was kind of a surprise, actually, because Martin throughout the fight, Martin was down going into the 10th round, which he won. He was down. I still have him down going into the 11th round, which he won. And then that 10-8 round, in my opinion, watching the fight, it was a deciding factor. The 10-8 round, and the dude took in the knee, made it a 10-8 round. It wasn't like he knocked him down. You know what I'm saying? The dude took a knee, and look, come on, 30 seconds, man. 30 seconds in the ring. I know 3 minutes is a long time. I don't know if you ever try to be in the ring and spar for 3 minutes. If you just try to box straight out for 3 minutes, 3 minutes is a long time. That kind of what makes UFC when these guys are literally fighting, wrestling and grappling and boxing for 5 minutes. Like that takes even more out of you. But 3 minutes is a long time just to be using your arms. That is a long time. However, he had 30 seconds to go, and he took a knee. It was I just never seen anything like it. And yes, it looked like it could have been somebody. I mean, it's hard to say somebody got in his ear in that last 30 seconds, but it looked like he was reminded of
lose and win.
You're not the favorite. You're not the favorite here. It looked like he was reminded. It was wild. It was wild. Fury and Francis Ngannou, they agree to fight. Who do you got in this one?
Fury.
Easy. You didn't break a break when you got Fury easy.
Yeah, man. It always goes that way. Whoever is the most dominant in that discipline, and you try and go that other way, never works out.
All right, Cleavon. Now we're in the second half of Major League Baseball season. I'm gonna ask you this question first. The Major League Baseball trade deadline is rapidly approaching. Got a couple weeks left. Should the California Angels of Anaheim, should they trade Shohei Ohtani, the most electric baseball player in baseball history?
They absolutely should.
Shohei Ohtani, Cleavon, as if you didn't know, leading the league in homers and triples. Do you know who's done that? Who last led this league in home runs and triples? Do you know? Can you mention any of the guys who did that?
Barry Bonds?
No.
Ken Griffey Jr.?
Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, and a guy named Jim Rice.
Okay. Not a guy named Jim Rice, but yeah, Jim Rice. Okay.
What do you mean not a guy? That was a girl?
No, you just kind of threw it out there like he wasn't like a guy, like a dude.
Yeah, but a guy by the name of Jim Rice. Shohei Ohtani is now leading the home. I can't trade him. I can't trade him. I can't.
So what is your alternative, Cam, to have this really cool season where the Angels don't make the playoffs again, and then you lose him for absolutely nothing, knowing that you have the most valuable player in the league and you got nothing for him? Is that your solution to the problem?
man, again, I think we may have touched on this last week. But unless he's told me that he's not re-signing with my team,
no, you got it all wrong, Cam. Unless he's told you that no, you're a legitimate candidate and suitor for my talents next year, you had better trade him.
That's what I'm saying. Unless he told me,
because all the signs say he's gone.
Well, he said he wants to win. He didn't
He said he wants
trade.
to win, and you're playing on a team that's not in the playoffs.
You're right.
For like the fifth straight year.
But we play in Southern California. We said that. I mean,
sure
that's
do. Are there other teams that play in Southern California other than the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim?
Ooh.
So it's not exclusive to just you, right?
Ooh. They can't. They absolutely cannot lose him to the team at the road. Again, I need to know from his people, from his mom, from his dad. Really? I need to hear from his.
And you think he's gonna kind of tip the cap to you? Hey, dog. I know these other teams are talking to me, but no. It's gonna be you and me for like 10 more years.
Hey, we're gonna pay. Okay, dude. Do you want to stay
Nothing
here?
says that. So because nothing says that, and
if
there's
you want
no
to stay
track
here,
record and no history, and one of his criteria is I want to play for a winning team, and you haven't had a team that's made the playoffs for 5 years, you trade him.
Again, if he has to tell me he's not resigning here. I can't just trade him because I'm speculating. I have to know he's not resigning.
You're doing your franchise a disservice if you're
Right.
waiting for someone who is going to be the biggest free agent in the history of baseball.
Again, that's why I can't trade him.
You that I'm going to sign with you. If that's what you're waiting for, then you should. Then yeah, you absolutely 100% have to trade him because he's never going to say that to you.
Why wouldn't he?
Why would he? He's going to be the most sought after free agent in the history of baseball.
Why would he tell me that, or why would he sign with the Angels?
Why would he tell you that?
Because he's played.
Because he likes us.
He's part of our franchise. He's been
because
part of our
you've been
franchise
here this whole time, man. We brought you in when you were like 21 and stuff.
No, you got to give us some inkling. So wait. You don't think the players have any relationship with their management?
He is not going to give them any inkling.
Why would he not though? Seriously, why would he not?
Because he is going to be the most sought after.
I get that. I understand that. I understand that. So that's more important to him being the most sought after player in baseball than making 500. I mean, he's gonna.
It's more important than giving you an empty.
Disney.
It's more important than giving you an empty promise. I can't promise you that. I'm going to come back here. Come back here for what?
If he says that, if that's the attitude I get right there, I can't say that. I can't commit. If that's the attitude I get when I ask you the question, if I'm the Angels brass, if that's the answer I get, yes, okay, I agree. You have to trade him.
177%. That's the answer that he's got from the Angels brass. I cannot commit to you guys.
Well, again, if that's that's telling me you're not going to resign. That is telling me. But I have to have that message before I start making phone calls or receiving phone calls.
Okay,
I have to have that message because you can't. The guy is the most electric player in baseball. You can't just trade him away. I mean, you're not going to get. What you going to get? An outfielder? You're going to get an outfielder and a hitter to kind of get the production he's getting you, and maybe a pitcher, maybe a lefty. I mean, who knows?
It's going to be a huge package that they'll get.
I mean, I don't know, man.
It won't be what Shohei Ohtani is worth because superstars never get their value in a trade. But yeah, you have to trade.
Yeah, he has to tell me just what you said. Why would I do that? Like, I have to have that type of response before.
Okay, so you would rather wait and just go on the hope and the premise that all of this goodwill that we've built up for 5 years is enough.
I just told you what I need before I trade him.
Okay,
I need to have that inclination that he's not coming back. I can't speculate on that. Obviously, you and I are speculating. You're in Seattle, I'm in Alabama. We are speculating on what's going on there in Anaheim. If he and his people are told the Anaheim Angels of the California Angels of Anaheim, we're not resigning here. If they have made that message clear, yes, he needs to be traded.
Why would they do that, Cam?
What do you mean? Why would they? Because they've been with the team for the last 5 years. They've been on the team for he's in the locker room. Do you want to stay here or not? They should answer the manager, the teammates, the agent. Are you signing here or not? Are you signing here or not? They should be able to tell them.
You're sounding very, very naive to this how this whole sports game works, man.
What,
Whoever does that. Why would they give up all of their leverage?
What leverage are they giving up? What leverage are they giving up? They're not giving up any leverage. He's still going to be a multi-hundred billionaire. He's still going to make $70 million next season, whether it's with the Angels or whether it's with the Dodgers or the Yankees. It would
be disingenuous of Shohei Ohtani to say one way or the other what he was going to do.
I don't understand why it would be disingenuous.
Because he has absolutely no idea whether or not he's coming back there, but he's leaning towards no.
I don't understand what do you mean he has no idea? He's the person that says, I want to play here or there. I don't understand how he doesn't have an
number one, he said he wanted to play for a winner. The Angels aren't a winner. So if that's
Brett
your
Favre said he was, I'm not Brett Favre.
If that's your number one criteria, then they're already out.
Harden said he wants to play for a winner. And he's talking about going to the Clippers. Come on now. I mean, these guys will say anything. Okay? So they'll say anything. Internally, the agent has to be able to have
James Harden's actually played in the playoffs for the last 5 years. Shohei Ohtani's never played in the playoffs.
Okay, again, Cleveland. James Harden said he wants to play for a winner. He's talking about playing for the Clippers. They haven't won.
Right.
They haven't been in the play. But
he also hasn't said, come to Philadelphia and say, hey, I just want to play for you guys because I love it so much here. You guys have been cool with me.
Well, again, he said he wanted to play in Houston. He said he was in Philly and said he wanted out of Philly. In Brooklyn, said he wanted out of Brooklyn.
Shohei has no ability to make
trust.
Shohei has no ability to make a definitive commitment to the Angels. If that's what they're waiting for to determine whether or not to trade him, they should trade him.
So Cleveland, you said I'm being naive. Do you think the agent and the Angels are not the Angels GM have not had that conversation?
For sure. And the Angels GM is taking that same position that you are. Tell me you want me. Tell me I'm your only one. And Shohei's like, no, I can't do that.
I don't know. I'm not sure I agree with that line of thinking.
Tell me I'm your first pick. Like, no.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure
what the other picks are.
I'm not sure I agree with that. I mean, what are you there? He wants to win. Okay, well, we're going to do our best to build a winner around you.
Haven't they been doing that already? They've been doing that already. Ask Damian Lillard.
It hasn't happened.
He actually texts messages back and forth with Damian with that same conversation. Yeah. What is your experience with an organization telling you that they're going to build around you because you're, the focal point of the organization?
But Dame has been there and making he's gonna make $50 and $60 million over the next.
But that's not Dame's motivation. Dame's motivation is to be the king of Portland. Until just recently, that's been his thing.
So again,
at 27, 28, he's already said like, I want to win.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. But I have to have if I'm the Angels GM, I have to have that communication and understanding.
If you have to have that, then you should trade him because you're never going to get a straight answer.
I don't understand. I disagree with him not answering the question. I disagree with that.
Okay, well then the answer is always going to be no, because I don't know.
Again, I have to have that communication, and that as an
Angel, they already have that communication. That's
well,
that's
if they already had it. If they already had it, he would have been already trading. Like he had already been traded.
They're trying to do the Cam thing, try and convince him that it's Los Angeles and we're the first person that he came to, and we're gonna do all we can to build around you and make this a successful thing.
He's never going to sign with the Angels, but want to save face on the fan base saying we tried our best to sign him. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I mean, but now if we have the message though that he's not coming back, it's in their best interest. To Cleveland's point, it's in his best interest to trade him. So we got a couple weeks. If he's gave that message to the Angels, and that's all I'm saying is that I have.
He's giving the message that he's 100% non-committal to them.
And I'm not. I'm not seeing that. And maybe you're seeing something I'm not. I'm not seeing that. Again, maybe you're seeing something I'm not.
Okay.
What's the biggest? Is that the biggest story of the second half of the season? Is Ohtani getting traded? Is it Luis Ariz going for 400? Is it the Mariners
story
trying to
is
get above?
whether or not they will trade Shohei Ohtani before it's too late.
Well, they got a couple weeks. They got a couple weeks to get it done. And yeah, they probably should do it. If they're getting the message that
they're going to wait till the deadline because that's when you get the most value for what it is that those other teams need.
Well, we got a couple weeks before he's going to be done in New Jersey. So who's gonna trade for him? Is it going to be the Yankees? Is it going to be the Dodgers? Because anybody trade for him know it's going to be a rental, and then they're going to have to go through their spiel. So who's going to be the trade? Who's going to trade for him?
Like I said, I've heard the Giants.
San Diego.
I've heard the Giants, and I've heard the Dodgers. It's not going to be the Padres, no.
You just don't want to give the Padres any credit for making moves.
No, because they already have a payroll that's way over what their demographic.
But again, it's just going to be a rental. It's just going to be a rental because he's only going to be there for to the length of his contract.
Well, I mean, you don't know that.
Well, I mean, it's going to have to be.
Why would it have to be a rental? I mean, he could always re-sign with whatever team traded for him.
The GM. Yeah, I mean, the GM's all but out of there. If he can't sell the most electric player in baseball on his team. Yeah, the GM is out of there. That's already a done deal.
Okay, well then let him walk for nothing.
No, again, Cleveland, you're not listening, man. You have a listening problem tonight. You're not listening.
How am I not listening? You either think that you can retain him with a team that has not made the playoffs for 5 years in a row when he's already said that is his number one priority. You have not had the ability to put enough talent around him to do that, but now you want him to commit to you for 10 years. Why?
He has to say or give me the impression that he's not re-signing with the team. That's I started the prep.
He's already giving you that impression.
He's not
because he's already.
Well, I don't know what he's. I'm not in the locker room.
Is to be a winner.
I'm not having those. I'm not in a partial to those conversations. But if I'm the GM, he has to all but tell me I'm not signing with you. All these false messages and all these innuendos, everything you're saying to the media or on Twitter, I'm not listening to that. You have to tell me I'm not coming back here before I trade him. And if I get that message, then yes, obviously, like my man Iwi is saying, yeah, he's out of there. I got to trade him. I got to trade him. So that's coming down in a couple weeks.
You know what, Iwi? When you trade somebody like that and you get the bounty back, and the bounty has some jewels in it, you're okay with it.
But yeah, so if the teams are going to lowball him, if they're going to lowball him by sending him to single A players,
they're not gonna lowball him. And this isn't.
I mean, if that's the case, that they know he's a rental and they don't want to give up their farm because they know he's only going to stay there.
Well, then they don't really want him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then if that's what I'm getting, if I'm just getting low balls, okay, I might as well keep them. If I'm only getting 2 AAA players out of the deal and 2 AAA players in that prospect, the number 1 draft who might not be in the Major League Baseball in 7 years, that's all I'm getting. Well, I might as well keep them and just ride it out and see. Okay, Shohei, let's make the best offer.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe buy him a new house. Maybe give him half of Disneyland. I don't know.
And when you don't make the playoffs and you understand that his number 1 priority is winning, then you're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if I can give you half of Disneyland, maybe that'll entice you. Maybe if I give you half a piece of Disneyland, just like the Miami FC did for Messi. Okay, here we can give you some of Nike or Adidas
Well,
pigskin, Sony pigskin.
the city of Toronto gave Kawhi Leonard a credit card you can just use wherever you want, and just the bill just goes to the Raptors. I mean, whatever you want to do.
That
wasn't enough.
That still wasn't enough. I mean, that still wasn't enough. Hilarious. Fans, again, thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. We appreciate you guys each and every week. Let's give Cleveland a round of applause for sticking in on the show, trying to come with some hot stuff, man. But I had to shoot some of that stuff down. But again, I want to thank him for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. I want to leave you guys with this quote. This quote, ironically, Cleveland, from Michael Jordan. I can accept failure, but I can't accept not trying. I can accept failure, but I cannot accept not trying. That's the GOAT, Michael Jordan. Once again, fans. Weed's coming with some content. He's coming in late. When a woman says she's not giving you her number, she says she ain't feeling you without saying it exactly. That's a good line. That's a good line.
I love it. Candace understand that. He was like, tell me you gonna be with me.
Tell me no. I don't need to read between the lines because I'm about to lose my job. I'm about to lose my job.
He can't legitimately tell you that.
I'm about to lose my job if I trade you. You know that, right? My job is on the line. And so, yes, I got to do all I can.
You guys to tell me you love me too.
I got to pull out all the stops before, yes, I pull this trigger here.
I am not going to trade Shohei Ohtani until he tells me definitively he's not going to be back here next year.
Hey, again.
And lose all of his leverage with everyone.
He's not losing. He's still going to make $70 million whoever he signs with. He's not losing any leverage. He's still going to make his money. That's not the issue. It's just where he's going to be, where he's going to live. That's it.
And it would be more beneficial to the Angels if he would just be upfront with like, oh no, actually I'm going to be in New York next year. Oh no, actually I'm going to be in Seattle next year. Just go ahead and just tell him.
I mean, tell him what's on your mind. What's on your mind?
Cool. Yeah, professional athletes don't operate that way, Cam, but that's cool. That's an interesting world that you live in.
All right, fans. Thank you guys for tuning in. Enjoy the night. Yeah, I gotta see. It gotta pay off. Let's see if that pays off. But let's see if it pays off because it means my job. My job is on the line. If I let you walk out of the door, my job is on the line. So I gotta do everything. I gotta do everything to hold you in here. So yes, I'm going all out.
And hold you to a commitment in July.
I gotta do everything. Well,
I gotta hold you to your word in July. What you said to me on July the 19th, you gotta stick with that when the season's over and we don't make the playoffs. And man, you still gotta be down with us.
It's over in a couple weeks. So he got a couple weeks to make this decision or to make this move. The GM does.
Oh yeah. No.
So he got the trade deadline is at August 1.
You know what? He could just go silent all the way through till the trade deadline happens, and it's up to them to decide what's going on.
Again, you act like there's no communication going on with the team, and he can't just be walking to the halls of the Angels halls and not say anything to anybody.
Yeah,
you act like there's no communication.
He can actually do that because he's not obligated to do any of that. Yeah. He's certainly not obligated. He's certainly not obligated to make a commitment to you, who's never been in the playoffs since he's been there.
Well, we'll have the conversation again next week when he's still not, because the Angels are doing all they can to retain him.
They sure are. Yeah, and it's a mistake because he's already got 1 foot out the door. You should just get the Count of Monte Cristo bounty for him and just.
But again, you already said he's not going to get a bounty until the trade deadline. So what are you rushing to trade for?
Because the teams that are a Shohei Ohtani away will leverage the farm system to do that.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens, fans. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Let's give Cleveland a round of applause for making his nonsensical arguments today. And tune in next week. Tune in next week to the Voice of the Fans podcast. We'll have another hot segment again for you guys again. Thank you, Cleveland. Thank you for participating. Later.